You are lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, and the world is completely silent. But inside your head, a deafening war is raging. It is 2 o'clock in the morning, and your mind is running on a relentless, exhausting treadmill. You are replaying a conversation you had 3 days ago, agonizing over a single sentence you said, wondering how it was perceived. You are projecting yourself 5 years into the future, building elaborate, terrifying catastrophes out of problems that do not even exist yet. Your chest feels tight, your breathing is shallow, you are physically perfectly safe, lying in a warm room, but biologically, your nervous system is fighting for its life against an invisible enemy. Does this sound familiar? We live in an era that has engineered mass anxiety. You have been conditioned to believe that overthinking is a form of preparation. You convince yourself that if you just analyze every possible angle, if you just worry enough about the outcome, you can somehow protect yourself from the unpredictability of life. But overthinking is not preparation. It is a slow, quiet poison. It is a self-inflicted paralysis that drains your premium energy, steals your focus, and robs you of the only moment where you actually possess any power. The present. Over 2,000 years ago, the ancient Stoics navigated a world that was infinitely more physically dangerous than ours. They faced plagues, brutal wars, political assassinations, and exile. Yet, men like Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, and Epictetus, a man born into the horrors of slavery, moved through that absolute chaos with a terrifying, unshakable calm. They did not have easier lives. They possessed a superior mental architecture. They understood a brutal psychological law. You cannot control the raging storms of the external world, but your mind is a sovereign territory. If you are drowning in anxiety, it is because you have voluntarily handed the keys of your inner citadel over to fear. Today, we are going to tear down the mental habits that are keeping you awake at night. We are going to dive into 7 ancient Stoic habits that will instantly stop your overthinking, silence your anxiety, and forge your mind into an impenetrable fortress. These are not gentle, soft-spoken suggestions. They are ruthless, battle-tested protocols for claiming absolute authority over your internal world. Before we begin this extraction, you must make a choice. Are you ready to stop being a helpless prisoner to your own thoughts? If you are tired of bleeding your energy into imaginary disasters, hit the subscribe button right now. Join a community of builders who refuse to live in fear. Leave a comment below to anchor your intention in reality. Share this video with someone who is currently suffocating under the weight of their own mind. And do not dare skip a single lesson. Every habit we discuss is a load-bearing pillar in the new mind you are about to build. Seal your commitment today. Drop this exact vow in the comments below. I command my mind, it does not command me. Number 1. The brutal division of your reality, the root cause of almost all human anxiety, is a severe misallocation of energy. You're exhausted because you're trying to hold the ocean back with your bare hands. You worry about the economy. You worry about what your colleagues think of your latest project. You worry about whether your partner will wake up in a bad mood tomorrow. You're throwing your massive intellectual power at variables that you have absolutely zero authority over. Epictetus founded his entire philosophical framework on one fundamental division. There are things that are up to us, and there are things that are not. Overthinking is the act of blurring that line. When you overthink, your ego is trying to micromanage the universe. To stop the spiral of worry, you must become a ruthless auditor of your own attention. When panic sets in, You must freeze and draw a hard, unforgiving line in the sand. Ask yourself, do I have direct, absolute control over this outcome? If the answer is no, you must drop it immediately. It is dead weight. You must train your brain to release external outcomes with cold, clinical precision. You control your effort, your integrity, your preparation, and your response. That is your entire kingdom. Command it fiercely and leave the rest to the fates. When you stop fighting battles in territories you do not own, the relief is instantaneous. Lock in this division right now. Comment below. I release what I cannot control. Number 2. The amputation of time traveling. Your mind possesses a spectacular and dangerous ability. It can decouple from the present reality and travel through time. You can cast your consciousness backward to marinate in the shame of past failures. You can project your consciousness forward to tremble at the ghosts of a hypothetical future. And while your mind is absent, wandering through timelines that do not physically exist, your actual life, the present moment, is slipping through your fingers. Seneca wrote with devastating accuracy that we suffer more often in our imagination than we do in reality. Most of the things that keep you up at night will never actually happen, and the past mistakes you constantly replay cannot be rewritten, no matter how much emotional blood you spill over them. The Stoic masters survived chaos by confining their awareness entirely to the immediate present. You must practice the daily amputation of dead time. The past is a tomb. Let it stay buried. The future is an illusion. It has not arrived. When you catch your mind spiraling into the abyss of what if, you must violently snap your attention back to the physical sensations of the now. What is the task directly in front of you? What is the very next action required? When you slice away the heavy burdens of yesterday and the terrifying phantoms of tomorrow, you realize that you only ever have to survive a single moment at a time. And you will always possess exactly enough strength to survive the present moment. Number 3. Strip the adjectives from the event. You believe that the events of your life are causing your anxiety, but that is a lie. The event is just raw, neutral data. It is the story you attach to the event that is causing your heart to race. Let's say you receive a vague, late-night email from your boss asking for a meeting tomorrow morning. The objective fact is simply, an appointment has been scheduled, but your overactive mind instantly acts as a horror movie director. You add adjectives, you add a soundtrack of doom. You tell yourself, I'm going to be fired, I'm a failure, I will lose my home, everyone will know I'm an imposter. You have taken a neutral calendar invite and turned it into an existential threat to your survival. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to look at the world without adding emotional commentary. He stripped the adjectives away. To calm your overthinking mind, you must become a forensic investigator of your own thoughts. When a trigger occurs, write down exactly what happened without using a single emotional word. Separate the raw facts from your dramatic interpretations. When you look exclusively at the unvarnished reality, you will find that it is almost always manageable. You do not have to be terrified of the facts. You only have to stop letting your imagination write toxic fiction. Declare your new mental filter below. Type this: I observe the facts. I reject the fiction. Number 4. The protocol of the premeditated worst. This habit sounds completely counterintuitive to the modern mind. Society tells you to think positive, to manifest good vibes, and to push negative thoughts out of your head. But avoiding your fears does not make them go away. It forces them into the dark. where they mutate and grow larger. Overthinking is simply your brain trying to avoid the worst-case scenario without ever actually looking at it. The Stoics engineered a brilliant psychological weapon called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Instead of running from their fears, they stared them dead in the eye. If you are endlessly worrying about a project failing, stop vaguely stressing about it and forcefully visualize the absolute worst-case scenario. Imagine the project fails completely. What happens next? You look foolish for a day. You lose some money. You have to start over. And then what? You realize that you are still breathing. You realize that your family still loves you. You realize that you possess the intelligence to rebuild. When you intentionally walk yourself through the worst possible outcome, you strip the monster of its shadow. You discover that the nightmare is survivable. By accepting the worst in advance, you completely destroy the anxiety of the unknown. Number 5. Sever the hunger for the gallery's approval. A massive percentage of your overthinking is not about survival. It is about status. You overanalyze a text message before you send it because you want to sound perfectly charming. You agonize over a career choice because you are terrified of looking foolish to people you went to high school with. Your mind is running on a hamster wheel, desperately trying to calculate how to secure the approval of the crowd. Marcus Aurelius found this deeply baffling. He noted that we all love ourselves more than we love other people, yet we care more about their opinions than we do our own. It is a profound, tragic irony. To calm your mind, you must fire the imaginary jury that lives in your head. You must realize that the people you are so worried about impressing are entirely consumed by their own insecurities. They are not thinking about you. They are overthinking about themselves. When you stop outsourcing your self-worth to the shifting, irrational judgments of strangers, a heavy, suffocating silence falls over your mind. It is the silence of true freedom. Let them misunderstand you. Let them judge you. Base your choices entirely on your own unbending moral code, and treat the applause and the mockery of the world as the exact same meaningless noise. Reclaim your sovereignty right now. Comment below. My worth does not require their applause. Number 6. The practice of strategic non-action. When you feel anxious, your biological impulse is to do something. You want to fix the problem instantly. You want to send the frantic text message to clarify a misunderstanding. You want to push, pull, and manipulate the pieces on the board to make the discomfort go away. You believe that constant mental and physical motion is the only way to solve a crisis. But frantic action is just anxiety wearing a disguise. When you stir a muddy puddle with your hands to try and clean it, you only make the water darker. The Stoic masters understood the lethal effectiveness of doing absolutely nothing. When your mind is spinning out of control, when you are overwhelmed with options and suffocating under the weight of a decision, the most powerful move you can make is to step away from the chessboard entirely. Do not trust the thoughts that are generated in a state of panic. Force yourself to sit in the uncomfortable stillness. Let the mud settle on its own. When you refuse to act out of urgency, the emotional fog eventually burns off. The correct path will reveal itself, not because you forced it, but because you cultivated the quiet clarity required to finally see it. Number 7. Transmute anxiety into physical execution. Overthinking is trapped energy. It is raw kinetic power that has nowhere to go, so it turns inward and begins to attack your own psychological foundation. You are sitting completely still while your brain is running a marathon. This misalignment between your physical state and your mental state creates the suffocating pressure of anxiety. The ultimate cure for a hyperactive mind is an exhausted body. The Stoics did not just sit around philosophizing. They were men of action, of duty, and of intense physical discipline. They understood that the mind and the body are intimately connected. When you are trapped in a loop of overthinking, you must brutally interrupt the cycle with immediate physical execution. You cannot outthink an overthinking mind. You must outact it. Drop to the floor and do 50 push-ups. Go for a punishing run. Clean your environment with aggressive precision. Take a freezing cold shower. When you force your body into intense, focused action, you drag your consciousness out of the imaginary clouds and slam it back into the physical reality of the present moment. Action is the great cleanser. It burns away the static and leaves behind nothing but crisp, undeniable truth. Your mind is a phenomenal instrument, but without discipline, it becomes a tyrant. It will conjure storms out of clear skies. It will build prisons out of thin air. It will steal your joy, your presence, and your potential, all while convincing you that it is just trying to keep you safe. But you are no longer playing the victim to your own biology. You are the architect of your inner citadel. When you draw the hard line of control, when you amputate the past and the future, when you strip the drama from the facts and embrace the worst-case scenario, the noise simply has to stop. The anxiety starves to death. You stop surviving the chaos of your thoughts, and you begin to reign over them with quiet, absolute authority. The philosophy has been laid out before you. The weapons have been placed in your hands. The only remaining variable is your willingness to pick them up and fight. If you have stayed with me until the very end, you belong to a fraction of 1% of society that is actually willing to do the hard work of self-mastery. You are not a spectator, you are a builder. Cement your progress today. Hit the like button to lock in your commitment. Share this video with a friend who is fighting a hard battle in the dark. And make sure you are subscribed so you never lose your edge. Leave your final, unbreakable declaration in the comments below. I master my mind to master my life. Stay grounded. Stay disciplined. Guard your inner citadel. I will see you in the next one.